This video is sponsored today by the Esoteric Academy. If you're somebody who's been meaning to get in shape or longing to go to the gym or yoga studio or Pilates studios, but you frankly are intimidated by that, or maybe you just don't have the time to add another stop, another location to your already busy schedule, then the Esoteric Academy is perfect for you. The Esoteric Academy is an online mystery school where we have a library and multiple playlists full of different exercise videos, from fusion bar classes to yoga classes to walking classes to all strength and stretch classes, mobility classes, and all these exercises are brought to you by master teachers, including myself. You get to do this in the privacy of your own home at your own leisure. We have all different times. We have hour-long exercises, 30-minute exercises, 45-minute exercises. We've even started a playlist for children. With the Esoteric Academy, you also get one live exercise class a month with me, and you get to join the community of other people who are on this platform. Not only that, with these exercises, we also give you the spiritual information regarding physical exercise to hopefully give you more meaning and purpose to your body, so you start to see your body in a different way. If this is something that you are interested in, there is a link down in the description box below. You do get 7 days of a free trial to make sure that you like what we have to offer. If you want to just do, after the 7 days, if you want to just do the exercise portion of this mystery school, this academy, it's only $25 a month. You get all these exercise videos for $25 a month only. And of course, if you would like to participate in the courses on top of that, there is an extra tier for that. But if the exercise is all you're interested in, and that's all you want is something that you can do in the comfort of your own home without having to go to a gym or a yoga studio, then the $25 a month will be sufficient for you. Hope to see you over on the Academy. We would love to have you. Now let's get on with the show. Guys, I haven't done one of these in a long time because Mercury retrograde has been crazy. And so, but you guys, what is going on with the Idaho 4? Now, here's the thing. Back when the case broke, the Idaho 4 case broke, in like 2022, my immediate gut was that it's not what the media is telling us it is. And maybe for a lot of us that's the case, because you have to be kind of living under a rock right now if you think the media is being honest. It's now very much in vogue just to lie to people, right? But when this case broke, and these 4, for those who don't know, these were 4 college age, for my European and English friends on here, we interchange the word university and college. So I'll say university. These are 4 university aged kids. I believe it was 3 girls, 1 boy, in Idaho, and they were unalived early one morning. And a guy named Brian Kohberger has been arrested and charged with the unalivings. But the math really isn't mathing. There were other people in the house. They all lived in a house together. It was like Greek Row or something. And there were other people there that like witnessed, but then weren't themselves hurt. It's just a very, very strange case. And the media and the authorities have spun a story making this guy, Brian Kohberger, the guilty felon. He hasn't gone to trial yet, but he has been arrested and charged with these crimes. Now, I'm not saying that Brian Kohberger isn't guilty. I just don't think he's as guilty as he's being portrayed. I think there were other people involved. And here's the thing. I have thought that since the moment the case broke. I said, I remember my head thinking, this is not the full story. This is not the full story. This is not the full story. Why would he just leave kids in the house that could identify him? And the story that they're spinning is that he like had this fantasy of doing this, and that's why he did it, which I kind of call bullshit on. Like, I just don't, you know, I know the serial unalivers kind of are that way, but like, this guy wasn't a serial unaliver. This was just like one event. Anyway, to make a long story short, it's 2025. We're in what, almost April of 2025, and all of a sudden other people are starting to talk. And when I say other people are starting to talk, I am one person in particular, a parent, a mother of one of the students that I think witnessed it, is starting to speak out because she knows that the story the media is spinning, the story that law enforcement is spinning, it's just not adding up. Like, the math ain't mathin'. Like, if a crime takes place and one person believes that there is a conspiracy, but nobody else does, it might just be that one person. But if multiple people around the world are having the same thought, including me when I first heard the case, that this isn't making sense, like this just does not make sense, then we're seeing a pattern of deception. And now again, we're having this mother come out and telling the world what her child told her, and she's trying to get in touch with the police. We're now hearing on these TikToks that like people were trying to get in touch with the police for days and no one was calling them back right after the crime happened. Now, yeah, you could say it's a small town in Idaho. Maybe they were overwhelmed because they don't usually have to deal with murder, you know? But nonetheless, it's just something's not right with this case. And now we learn that it took 8 hours, 8 freaking hours, for the remaining people, the kids that weren't unalived, to call 911. 8 hours to call 911 after the crime took place. Now, there can be all these excuses. I understand some of them were probably drinking when this happened. It was early in the morning. A lot of them had not gone to bed yet. You know, for me at 4 a.m., that's when I'm up starting my day. So there could be a lot of other factors involved that meant that they didn't call 911 right away. But 8 hours, and according to this one parent, you'll have to listen to her yourself, but according to this one parent, a lot of people knew that the crime had taken place before the police were called. So people were aware. So what? You know, you can have freeze response, all that kind of stuff, but to literally go 8 hours before you call 911, to me, that speaks of someone's trying to get their story straight. And I don't think personally that the kids that were left alive are to blame. I think that they were basically told, this is the story you're going to tell. Now, I went back and listened to Sloan Bella. I love Sloan Bella, and she had done a intuitive reading on the Idaho 4 a long time ago, and she basically picked up that there was multiple people involved, that this is not, the story that the media is spinning is not true, and basically what the impressions that Sloan Bella was picking up very much mirror what this parent is saying. Yeah? Now, if Sloan Bella sees this TikTok, I hope I'm paraphrasing correctly, because she talks about Brian Kohberger being weaponized by his mind. To me, that yells Manchurian Candidate, and that also reeks of the MK, you know, the ULTRA. And then she talks about, too, was he placed there, like, spiritually as well, and that would speak to being an organic portal. So it's just very fascinating, you guys, and I'm so freaking sick of people lying. Like, I'm so sick of this shit. Like, why? Why does the media back these criminals? Why? 4 innocent children, they're children, even though they were in their early 20s, let's face it, they were children. 4 innocent children lost their lives. And the media is obviously protecting the real criminals, I'm trying to think of words I can say on TikTok, the real felons. Now, I don't know if this is involved totally with the 3-letter agencies. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people think that this has to do with schmugs, we'll say, DRUGS, schmugs. And if that's the case, if there was some of that industry going on through this college house where it's not like that's never happened before. It doesn't make these kids bad kids. That happens a lot. But if there was a schmug deal gone wrong, stranger things have happened, but why? Why is everybody protecting? Why is Brian Coburn? And again, I'm not saying that he's innocent. I think he very much was there and very much had a lot to do with the unalivings. I think he's right where he needs to be. But why is he the scapegoat? Who else is being protected? This is crazy, you guys. It just pisses me off so much. And I know that we're going to be dealing with these shenanigans for a long time to come. Like, I get that. Like, this is just what Earth is like. But the fact that people are just so quick to lie, to cover for nastiness is beyond me. Like, it is beyond me. We see this in all walks of life, where the real perpetrators are protected and then other people are scapegoated. And if this can happen to 4 college students, university students in a small town in Idaho, then we're all screwed. It can happen to any of us. And I am just this shit just makes me so mad. And I think the media, legacy media, should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Should be absolutely ashamed of themselves, because you are showing such a disrespect to human life by doing this. And this planet is all about making choices. Are you going to serve others, or are you going to serve yourself? And there are consequences to every choice we make. And so I hope these legacy media people realize that their protection, it's not going to age well. Them protecting the bad guys is never going to age well with the people. So anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts, because I don't even know where to begin. I did look to see if the Seas had said anything about this case. They haven't yet, but I'm really curious. Hopefully, if it gets even bigger, if the conspiracy side of this gets bigger, then maybe the Seas will do a reading to see what's actually going on. But also check out Sloan Bella's YouTube page, her channel, where she does the Idaho 4. Just type in Sloan Bella Idaho 4 and the video will pop up. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.
Laura Knight's Cassiopean experiments, often associated with the Cassiopeia material, involves the exploration of consciousness, spirituality, and the nature of reality. Through various methodologies, including channeling and psychic experiments, Knight and her collaborators sought to communicate with higher intelligences, particularly a group of entities referred to as the Cassiopeans. The primary aim was to gain insight into the metaphysical questions, the nature of existence, and human development. The experiments included multi-session discussions that covered topics like multidimensional realities, free will, and the influence of higher dimensional beings on humanity. Knight recorded these sessions, which often contained profound philosophical and esoteric insights, and these records became part of a larger body of work that aimed to explore consciousness beyond conventional scientific understanding. The overall tone of the experiments reflect a blend of skepticism and deep inquiry into the nature of consciousness and our place in the universe. Laura Knight began her communication with the Cassiopeans in 1994. She is still in communication with the Cassiopeans to this day. If you would like a better understanding of the Cassiopeans and their impact on humanity, I would highly suggest checking out the Wave series by Laura Knight, the Cassiopean Forum, which a link will be provided in the description box below, or purchasing the book that I personally am reading from that contains all of the transcripts and conversations between Laura and the Cassiopeans. The Cassiopeans base the soul's evolution and consciousness on the spiritual template known as the Law of One. The Law of One is also known as the raw material. It is a series of philosophical texts that emerged from a series of channeling sessions conducted by Carla Rucker, Don Elkins, and Jim McCarthy in the early 1980s. The sessions involved channeling a consciousness known as Ra, who claimed to be a collective of extraterrestrial beings from the 6th density. The key concepts in the Law of One are unity and oneness, The central tenet of the law of one is that all beings are fundamentally interconnected and are expressions of the same universal consciousness. The phrase "we are all one" encapsulates this idea, emphasizing that unity is the essence of existence. It also covers the densities of existence. The material describes the cosmos as composed of multiple densities or levels of existence. Each density represents a stage of spiritual evolution, with humans currently experiencing a third density, which is characterized by lessons in love, understanding, and most importantly, making choices. We also seek to understand in the law of one soul evolution. According to Ra, souls undergo a process of evolution through these densities, learning and growing through various incarnations. The choice between these paths influences one's spiritual evolution and the experiences one encounters in life. There's also discussions of the role of free will. Free will is considered sacred, and individuals are encouraged to explore and make choices regarding their spiritual development without interference from higher beings. If you would like more information on the law of one, please make sure to check out the material for yourself. A link to all resources will be posted down in the description box below. But for now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta. I am sorry, I'm kind of sweaty. I just got done teaching, so I don't have a whole lot of makeup on, but I am just having so much fun going through these old Cassiopean transcripts with you guys that I just couldn't stay away. I couldn't stay away. I had to come and do this with you guys, and I hope we keep going with this for a while because I feel like I'm learning things from these Cassiopean transcripts, and they're actually causing me to think about things in a different way. So I hope the same can be said for you guys too. Now, quickly, I am pre-recording this, so I'm recording this on, what's the date today? The 30th of March. I know it's going to be airing in April. I've got some traveling coming up, so I'm trying to pre-schedule some of these readings. But as of the 30th of March, you guys, have you been watching the Brian Koberger Idaho 4, the unravelings? I posted a TikTok about this. When the Idaho 4 case came out on the media, the unaliving of these 4 kids, immediately I just knew something wasn't right. And you guys know, like, I'm into the conspiracies, but I'm also, out of all the people that are into conspiracies, I always take things with a grain of salt because I know that there are fake conspiracies. But with this case, something just did not feel right. And turns out that a lot of people have felt this way. It turns out that the math ain't mathin'. And I found someone on TikTok. What's his name? I'll have to go back and relook because I actually want to contact this guy and hope that he'll come on the channel. Birdie something. And he's like broken down the right of the twins. And it's wild. It's wild. And I'm trying to do research on it myself, but I am going to reach out to him once I'm done traveling and see if he'll come on the channel and like talk about his research because he does a really good job talking about it. And I always want to highlight other researchers too. And so, yeah, you guys, let me know, like, watch your comments, obviously watch your words in the comment section, but this is crazy. Like, this case is not at all what the media made it out to be. So anyway, we're not talking about that today though, guys. That's just something that went on this morning. I just wanted to bring that up because, it's wild. It's just craziness that we live in. How boring life was when we didn't realize we were in a matrix, when we thought everything was as it seems. Now we've learned that literally nothing is as it seems. And it's wild times at Ridgemont High. Like, we are just we're really in it. But on Monday, we did talk about Anne Rice. And so I told you guys that I've been putting in keywords. And so I'm kind of going through the different sessions that are pulled up because of these particular keywords. So this, I put in vampire. So this is from November 19th of 1994. We have Frank, Laura, V, Terry, and Jan. Hello. Please no rituals. They constrict energy flow. They talk about this a lot, which is really interesting to me. I think sometimes we think we have to do these rituals and they're saying like, no, sometimes these rituals actually do more harm than good. And so that's fascinating to me. Who do we have with us this evening? Exora? Are you a discarnate? For you guys who don't know, a discarnate is another way of saying a ghost. No. Where are you from? Cassiopeia. So V says, I met a young man named Redacted this evening who claims to be a psychic vampire. Do you know of the person I am speaking of? The conversation I am speaking of? No. What I want to know is, has he mislabeled himself? Yes. Is he under demonic possession? No. Is he playing games with me? No. What is his problem? Delusional. There's a lot of Delulu people out there, especially in the conspiracy. He wants to, more to the point of questioning, he wants to speak with me more. I figured it's for one or two reasons. One, he wants to take my energy, or two, because he's calling out for help. Is he wanting to take my energy in a sense? Does he want my help as in counseling? No. Does he want to waste her time? Laura says that. Does he want to waste her time? Open. So he's not attached. I find that hard to believe. Is he attached? Most likely. Terry wants to ask why he has such rooted anger. So now they are changing conversations. So I just thought that was fascinating. You know, a lot of people are delusional, and that's what we're seeing. Are there psychic vampires? Of course there are. We've all experienced that. But a lot of people, you know, that's one thing I've really picked up from the Cassiopeians, and I've been saying this for a while. Like, they talk a lot about, like, most people's channelings are not correct. Most people are either channeling Lizzies when they think they're channeling God, or their own imagination. And so a lot of times, what's that saying? All we have to fear is fear itself. Sometimes people can talk a big game, like this guy, but they're not actually doing what they think they're doing. Okay. So then they change questions. Terry wants to ask why he has such deep-rooted anger. Victim of much circumstances related to this life. Is it karmic? It always is. It always is. So look what they're saying here. So he has deep-rooted anger. So that's lower chakra issues. That's lower belly issues. Victim of much circumstances related to his life. So just because you've been victimized by things in your life to cause an imbalance does not mean that you get off scot-free of doing the work, because they're saying, is it karmic? It always is. So sometimes the circumstances that happen to us in life is a karmic response to lessons that we need to learn. So whatever Terry's soul needed to learn in this life, his soul allowed certain circumstances to happen to create, to basically highlight some anger issues so that he can now work on it. I think that's a great conversation. And I think that I hope that makes sense to you guys. Can you give us a clue about how to deal with this and how to relieve it? It's already in the process. Is there anything to speed up the process? Not necessary. Karma's just going to have to play out the way karma's going to play out. Is there something I can do about it, or will it relieve itself on its own course? You are already on the right path. Terry, have I been abducted? Childhood. Has he been abducted since he was grown? Maybe in level 3. What is level 3? It's a type of abduction. How many levels and type of abductions are there? 6. What is level 3? Consciousness altered to alpha state. Does that mean screen memories? Close. In other words, I will be seeing something. Okay, let's start again. In other words, I will be seeing something other than what is actually happening, or remembering something other than what actually happened. Yes, but not physical as in childhood. Has he been to the caves? Have the Greys taken him to the caves? This is a strange question. I love the C's because they're like, sometimes they're like, WTF? Oh man. So you guys, we know that there's a lot of abductions going on. We know that we don't even know like, they can pause time, right? They can kind of blip in and out of time with souls and stuff. And so basically a lot of us, I think, have had this happen to us, but we don't know because there was a pause in time for it to happen, especially when we're kids, right? So how many times has he been physically abducted? 27. How many times have they interfered with his consciousness by inducing an alpha state? 196. So they can mess with our minds, right? They can, and sometimes that's why memory is not necessarily reliable. And that's why sometimes people can experience the same thing, but have two totally different memories of what happened. I've talked about that with my first encounter with a skinwalker, which I'll tag that video below if you missed it, where what I saw and what my boyfriend saw were two totally different things, two totally different people. But I will tag that below if you missed it. They can mess with your mind. Is this when I was asleep that they induce this alpha state? Sometimes. Has it ever happened when he's in front of his computer at work? At work for Honeywell? Inside large white building. Where is there a large white building? That's the Honeywell complex. Are they all white? They're all white. Is the Honeywell Corporation agents of the Lizzies? No, the US government. Yes, they are. They are government contractors. Has it happened since I worked at my new job? No. I don't understand why. Maybe I inferred he was like, yes, they are. He probably said, yeah, they are. They're government contractors. This Honeywell, I don't know what this company is. I'm not really into the corporate stuff. But that name does sound familiar. So they're inferring, is this agent working with the Lizzies? And they're like, no, they're just contractors from the US government. Has it happened since I've worked at my new job? No. Is it because I'm no longer working at a government facility? Partly. What would the other part be? You've recently had consciousness raising experience. And is this consciousness raising experience, and this consciousness raising experience has made it more difficult for them to play with my head? Yes. What was the consciousness raising experience? Soul searching period. And this is why the Cassiopeans often say like knowledge is power, because sometimes when you actually just take a moment to understand what's really going on in the etherical world, it automatically puts up boundaries. So once you know, you are aware that the Lizzies have been abducting you or doing stuff, you then become aware of it, and it's not as easy for them to like get you again, if that makes sense. Have you been doing a lot of soul searching? I've been saying that I've been at 100%. I've been saying that I have been at 100% depression for 6 or 7 weeks now. What is causing Terry's depression? Change of DNA. What brought about the change of DNA, moving toward 4th level of density? Why does this always seem to cause pain, suffering, and depression? All level 1 changes do. What are level 1 changes? We use level designation to denote significance. Is level 1 most significance? Yes. As the numbers go higher, does the significance lessen? Close. All right, so let's talk about that. This is really important. We talk about this a lot in yoga too. And it seems like they're kind of confused too. Why does this always seem to cause pain, suffering, or depression? And if you've been on this channel for a while, you know I say this, like no one goes to a yoga studio because they're happy. And a lot of times people will bail out on spiritual practices because they start doing them and they start to get more depressed or have more anxiety. And that's always going to happen, right? So like, you're never going to take on a spiritual practice and it's just lollipops and rainbows. This is not the density of love and light. I can't stand the whole love and light thing. Like that's not spirituality. In this realm is very much darkness. Like you have to go and fight your own demons. It takes courage. And so this is why a lot of times when people take on a spiritual practice to try to work on their own karma, they go through this like rebirthing process. It's like the death card in the tarot deck. It's a rebirth, but the old karma has to die first before the new understanding can happen. It's like I talk about a lot when you are doing a spiritual practice like yoga, you get the yoga fever a lot. Your body will break out in small little fevers because it's burning away karma. Yeah, you can't evolve consciously or whatnot by ignoring stuff, right? You can't ignore your anger. That's why Terry probably asked about his anger issues, because it's coming up, because this needs to be addressed in order for his consciousness to evolve. So as he's changing his karmic pattern from 3rd density to 4th density, all these things that need to be looked at are starting to come up for him. And that's necessary. And of course, it's going to cause pain. Of course, it's going to cause suffering, because you're having to look at something that is weighing you down. That's why it's called alchemy, right? You're taking the heavy lead and you're turning it into gold. And so this is if you think that by doing a spiritual practice, it's just going to be lollipops and rainbows and all your problems are just, it's not, no spiritual practice is going to take your problems away at all. In fact, they're going to highlight your problems, because your problems are typically where your karma lies. That your problems are why you came to Earth. Like you didn't come to Earth to like gallivant through flowers, fields of flowers, and watch bonbons or eat bonbons and watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Like, that's not why you came to Earth. You came here to refine your soul. And to refine something, to polish something, you need friction for that. Friction, right? Like I use the metaphor a lot. A match, a singular match, has everything on it that it needs to light itself. It's all there on the match, but the match cannot light itself unless it's struck against the matchbook, because that striking, that opposing force is what creates the spark of life, that then the match can light. So for us as humans, until we get uncomfortable, until we strike ourselves against that matchbook, only then can that light come out. The more the body breaks, the more the heart breaks, the light can come through. Yeah? Cracks are how the light gets in. And so this is a huge reality, and this is a reality check for people who think that they can take on a spiritual practice and just bypass all the hard stuff. You can't. If you do that, you're just going to be stuck in the same place you were. So I'm glad they talked about that. And they're like, this is what's happening. You're burning karma. You're changing your DNA through burning through karma. And it's not going to be comfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. I promise you it's okay to be uncomfortable. Okay. What is causing the pain in Jan's right shoulder, since several of us have been having this exact same symptoms? DNA changing. Can Reiki be used to help alleviate the discomfort? Not necessary or recommended. So they're trying to get out of this. You can see them still trying to get out of the discomfort. You only get out of the discomfort by going through the discomfort. So we just have to suffer through this one. Each suffering will be closely followed by dramatic life changes, 100%. I even say this to my students too a lot, like students that have been practicing for a while. Like, you know, when they're in the practice and they're riding high and the practice is getting cleaner and cleaning up and refining itself. And then all of a sudden they'll come in one day and the practice just falls apart. Like they're stumbling through it. They're getting tight again. And this might last for a couple of weeks. And they're like, what the hell is going on? Like I had this strong practice and now it's falling apart. And I'm like, just you wait. Just you wait, because whenever this happens, it means a breakthrough is about to happen. Just give it time. The body's reorganizing itself. It's like a slingshot, right? In order to use a slingshot, you have to pull the rock back, take it backwards in order to then release so it propels forward, right? You can't, you know, like if you're on a starting block as a swimmer, you pull your body back before you spring forward. You can't just jump or you're not going to spring forward, right? So you have to pull back a little bit. You have to go back in order to spring forward. So this is necessary. And this is such an important conversation, especially people who are new to spirituality. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. That's just part of it. You can't escape it. All right. Is there any reason why I have not experienced this discomfort? You will. I will tell you something funny. When my boyfriend was in India for the first time and he'd finally completed the primary series and was doing the primary series Yoga Chikitsa with no physical pain. And he walks up to Guruji, who was sitting outside with Amma, his wife, and he was like, oh, Guruji, primary series, no pain at all. And Guruji looks at Amma, his wife, and just starts laughing and laughing. And he looks at my boyfriend and goes, tomorrow, second series, you start. Much pain coming. So it's never, you're always pulling back that onion layer. It's always dropping deeper and working through our discomfort. Will I continue to be abducted now that I have this change of consciousness? Open. Are the same beings doing all the abduction, or are there different groups? Two groups. What is one group? Grays. What is the other group? Lizzie's. Is the woman Marissa Tower channeling Lizzie's? Yes. So who is this lady? Again, this is what, 1994? Once again, I was 11 in 1994. If you are new here, I would love to know how old you were in 1994. What were you doing when this was going on? Let's see here. Who is Melissa Towers? Let's see. I'm just seeing a wedding planner here. So let's see it channeling. Oops. So I'm not seeing anything, you guys, for a Melissa Towers. So I don't know if this was perhaps one of their friends or just an acquaintance that they had that never made it to the big time when it came to channeling. But let me know if you remember from the 90s, a lady named Marissa. Oh, did I type in Melissa or Marissa? Hold on. Maybe I typed in the wrong name. Hold on, you guys. Let me see. Oh, no, I typed in the right name. Marissa. So if you guys know who this lady is, help a sister out. I don't know who she is, but she's channeling Lizzie's. Are these Lizzie she's channeling intentions beneficial towards human beings? No. All right, we talked about this a lot. Most people are channeling the Lizzies. The Lizzies will come in and pretend to be like a being of light, and they're not, and they are doing it to manipulate. Sometimes they'll give truth, but they do it in order to manipulate so that the person that is taking the channeling seriously sells it to people, and so it disrupts human consciousness, because we know that the Lizzies have been trying to dominate this earth for thousands of years now. So just be very careful, you guys. Really, literally take everything with a grain of salt. Even this, everything. Take it with a grain of salt. All right. Was I in some kind of danger by ticking her off? Not at this point. Okay. Well, he obviously made her mad. Is there anything further you would like to say about the woman channeling the Lizzies? Further interactions with lizards are not encouraged. Be careful of some in MUFON, MUFON. Is it true that the government is using MUFON as their grassroots information gathering organization? Yes, maybe I shouldn't have said that if that's a government organization, but I received information during a dream. Was the information real or was it just a dream? Corrupted by who or what? Conflicting energies. What are the sources of these energies? Are these within Terry himself or outside of him? Both. Can the information that was sent through be retrieved? Will repeat. Have you noticed you're repeating your dreams pattern? I have not been remembering most of my dreams. Try melatonin. Avoid any antidepressants, as some have suggested. Is considered an antidepressant? No. Is the information of the dream important not only to me, but to everybody? All is. Are different people receiving different pieces of information, or are some people receiving as much as they can handle, and then it moves to another person to receive more of the information in varying accounts? Too many questions. Is the information being given out in places to different people to be put together? Close. The information I have would not be whole unto itself. Network. Use computer net. These are other communicating and piecing together in this way. Or there are others communicating and piecing together in this way. How do I retrieve the information? Ask. Start asking. Start taking melatonin. No, on computer network. Okay, so she just threw the melatonin in when they're on a different subject. You have to be very careful. The C's only want one subject at a time. And that makes sense that they wouldn't give one person all of the answers, right? Because we're not in the density of knowing. This is not fifth density is wisdom. We got a whole other density to get through before we have knowing, full knowing. So it makes sense that only many different people would have many different pieces of the puzzle, right? Because if you give one person all the answers, then that can lead to a total cataclysm where we end up having a cult, and that is of the negative. So many people are going to have many different perceptions. And the whole thing about dreams, you guys, I question the dream state sometimes. I know that a lot of spiritual people like to write their dreams down and dig into their dreams, but I kind of go back and forth on whether dreams are purely metaphysical or if they literally are just our brain trying to integrate and compartmentalize our feelings and our subconscious feelings. Like, you know, if you have dreams of like your teeth falling out or something, there's always some kind of meaning like in the subconscious mind. So sometimes I think people take their dreams too seriously. Like they think their dreams are some prophecy of what's about to happen, when it literally could just be their subconscious mind trying to communicate things that we're not aware of when our conscious mind is working, like our own shadow work. And so sometimes I kind of get, you know, when people think they're totally being like channeling in their dreams, I just think, I don't know if that's how that works, you know, because the brain is trying to process everything. The psyche is trying to process everything. And as they're saying, like, you could be getting some spiritual messages, but most of the time it's your own stuff. And so you can't like say your dreams are prophetic when some of that stuff might just be for you, like not for anybody else, but just like for you. Yeah. Okay. Ask the computer network how to retrieve the information. No, ask others. Ask if others are having dreams of similar nature. Open dialogue. I received a dream one night. I saw what was presented to me. I would describe it as a holographic or virtual reality computer screen. It was a glowing outline of a screen, and information scrolled past. The information was in different colors. There were a lot of different documents. The long documents, I believe, were some kind of technical references. It was just a black void. I wasn't even there. It was just there in front of me, like I was watching a screen. There were red documents, very short, that I took to be some kind of statement. They scared me. I don't remember what they were. They were green documents. They were yellow documents. The outline of the screen changed the color of the documents as they scrolled through. There was a lot of them. I know I read all of them, but I don't know what any of them said. Hypnotized Terry. In that hypnosis with my son, was that abduction in a previous lifetime? End of life information session, read Majestic. When a person dies and leaves the body, are the beings who take charge of the soul and direct the end-of-life review and the next life plan, are these beings similar to what we call aliens? Sometimes, but on an individual basis and level 5 density. So you're saying they aren't any aliens that would be assisting with this type of thing, would be of the level 5 density, or that the individual would be of the level 5, of the 5th level. Alien is based on one's perspective. They keep saying that. Aliens are only our perspective of what these beings are. Now, I do know that the 5th density is where our higher selves kind of live. So like even after we finish this density, our soul will go back to 5th density to like rest and recharge. And then if we need to go do 4th, it will then bop down to 4th again, right? But our cord to our higher self is in the 5th density. But does this mean that the being is at level 5 density person? Yes, reflective of experienced vibration. Why is the planet moving so slow tonight? V's attention is diverted. Diverted to what? Writing. One last question, and I will be gone for now. Who sent me the information in the dream? You don't have to go. Complex. Was the information set by the good guys or the bad guys? Different concept. Again, we're still, I think Terry is still in this idea that his dreams are some message from the divine. And the C's are, what I'm picking up, what the C's are saying is like, no, my friend, it's not really a necessarily a message from the divine. Some of it could be, but most of it is your own stuff. And so this is not, you're going too off the mark of what's happening here. And I think the reason why they suggested that Terry get hypnotized, because Laura is a hypnotist, I believe, is so that his subconscious can speak, so that they can get information about what his subconscious is trying to reveal to him. It seems like what was happening with Terry, from what I'm getting from the C's, is, again, it's mostly his own stuff. Like what he's experiencing is his own shadow work, his own karma, nothing that's prophetic to anybody else. Now, it's funny because if you're RH negative, you can't really be hypnotized. So I have crazy whacked out dreams. I have nightmares. But I have PTSD or CPTSD, so that's normal. But I'm like, damn, I wish I could be hypnotized. But RH negatives are not really hypnotizable. I took a hypnotistic class when I was in college, and I was the only person in the room that they couldn't hypnotize. And I remember the professor getting really frustrated that they just could not hypnotize me. And, but I didn't know back then that RH negatives can't be hypnotized. Now I do. So now that makes sense, because obviously I was the only person in that class to be RH negative, because that's the rarest of all, only 15% of the world population. But so I would love to know from the C's, like, if you're not able to be hypnotized, what do you do? What's the next step? Okay. What race of beings? Did it come from a specific race? Not exactly. Can you give us just a few words on this? Okay, Laura, cosmic retrieval system. What does the cosmic retrieval system retrieve? Remember, a computer was inspired by cosmic forces and reflects universal intellectual system of retrieval of reality. This is a computer network, yes or no? Strange thought pattern. So with computers, and we see this a lot with the C's, because we have this black and white thinking. Now, again, according to the law of one, the darkness cannot create anything. The only thing the darkness can do is take from the light and invert it. So when we're looking at, like, in 2025, like AI, like Chat GPT, all this Zoom stuff, everybody's, oh, it's all negative. It's all negative. No, because on the positive side, it's a social memory complex. And so with our technology now, if we're using it for the positive, it's a way for us to share our experiences with each other. Yeah, because of the technology that computers have, that computers have provided us and the internet, I'm able to sit here and read these transcripts with you guys, and you're all located all over the world. So this is the beginnings of a social memory complex where we're all putting our 2 cents in, we're all looking at these together, and we're sharing our own perspective so that we can draw from each other's perspectives to get a clearer picture. And also, I think Laura is still, or this is Terry asking, but at this time, I think they're still really confused because they're new to this. Yeah, this is 1994. They're brand new. They're really still, I think, confused between the body and the soul, which I've talked about before. That is the crux of suffering in yoga, and the yoga philosophy is that you confuse your eternal soul for your body and your life and your personality. So for me, I confuse Bryce, the person I am now, for my eternal soul, which has nothing to do with Bryce. And so because we confuse that, because we think that who we are, our personalities, our bodies are part of the soul, but the soul is eternal, but the body isn't. The body is mortal. And so we're trying to hold on to, we're trying to grasp onto something being eternal that's not supposed to be eternal. And that's why we suffer, because the what's not supposed to be eternal is always in fluctuations of change. And I think for a lot of people, when they start spirituality, whatever route or road they're going on, whatever lineage, that's the hardest thing to like break through in the mind. And so like for Laura, Terry, and V and Jan, I think they're still projecting this idea that when we are in consciousness, that there has to be a body involved, there has to be a personality involved, where the seeds are like, yeah, strange thought pattern. Like this is not, this is the world. You're still thinking that the world of nature, of Prakriti, is the world of Purusha, and the two are not the same. Purusha creates the Prakriti, the Shiva creates the Shakti, which is the matter, but the Purusha is what goes on. That's what never dies. It's the body and the personalities. And if you were to look at all your past lives, I'm sure most of your past lives, you as now, would not even like. You probably wouldn't even like those people. Right? But it was just the assignment, the creation of the soul in that moment for refinement. And so I think that's what we're seeing here is they're just getting really confused by the fact that when the body is no longer in function, when the soul leaves and goes up into the 5th density, it's not actually in the natural world anymore. It's in the eternal, ethereal, spiritual world. And so thinking that you're going to see these bodies walking around is wrong thinking, but is often very much confused because that's the crux of our own sin. Basically, sin means to miss the mark, to not know who you really are. That's the original sin, right? Is to not realize that who we are now is not who we are eternally. Okay, what you have described on a very large scale, sophisticated, grand scale, close. Can I access it through our earthly computer system? In a sense, but not directly as of yet, but just wait. Okay, we are back, guys. Have you been listening to us? We are always with you, with all of us. We have added Jan and Terry. We'll add more as needed. Is there a specific pattern to the phone calls that I have been getting in the mornings? No. Is there any outside agent causing my phone to ring to help me to wake up when I need to? No, just coincidence. Is there any significance to the high number of hangups I've been getting on both of our phone lines? 3 calls were monitors because of, I won't say this again. Are Terry and Jan's phones tapped? Phone taps are no longer necessary. Why? Technological advances. You mean they can listen to us without tapping our phones? Yes. Can they listen to us over the phones even when the phones are hung up? Can. And this is again long before cell phones. Now we absolutely understand that my phone right now, my iPhone, right? Like they can listen. They're probably listening to me talk to you guys in the Zoom. We understand that now, but back then they just had landlines, so this was very new to them. Can they listen to us through the TV, through the infrared frequency? Again, technology has advanced beyond that. Walls have ears. Satellites can monitor any conversation or meeting. Is this conversation being monitored at this point in time? No. Can our movements be tracked through the electronic ignition system in our cars? Not necessary. You are not aware of the extent to which humans have been aided in technology advancements. By whom? This requires a long and complicated response. The object behind using the electronic ignitions, from what I have heard, whether the source is true or not, I can't say, but I have a strange confirmation of part of it. Beware of disinformation. It diverts your attention away from the reality, thus leaving you open to capture and conquest and evil, even possible destruction. So we talked about that kind of with soul smashing, yeah? Beware of disinformation. So even in the truther community, there is more disinformation in the truther community than in any other community on the world. They are putting you into a junk conspiracy cul-de-sac that makes you open to being persuaded and captured by the Lizzies. Is the information about the electronic ignition system correct? Disinformation comes from seemingly reliable sources. It is extremely important for you not to gather false knowledge, as it is more damaging than no knowledge at all. Remember, knowledge protects, ignorance endangers. The information you speak of, Terry, was given to you deliberately because you and Jan and others have been targeted due to your intense interest in the level of density 4 through subject matters. You have already been documented as a threat. So once again, ding, ding, ding to the truthers out there. It is better to have no information than false information. Think about that for a second. Just sit and think about that for a second. Can you tell, Terry, what event occurred? Referring to confirmation of electronic ignition subject. Remember, disinformation is very effective when delivered by highly trained sources because hypnotic and transdimensional techniques are used, thereby causing electronic anomalies to follow suggestions, causing perceived information to occur. Who was the guy in the Camaro? Diversion. Terry. About 2 weeks after I saw the videotape where I heard this information, a guy pulled out of nowhere driving a souped-up Camaro. Jan, no, it was the night we were watching it. We had watched it before and we were talking about it and decided to watch it again. So Gary and I had decided to go outside to take the dog around the block, and we had just gotten back and put the dog on the porch, and we were standing outside smoking a cigarette when the guy in the Camaro pulls into the driveway with steam coming out from under his hood. He asked to use the hose. I told him yes. He gets out wearing jeans, t-shirt, and has scraggly blonde hair. He says, I overheated. I'm coming back from Gulfport and was going back to Ocala and was on the interstate when his car overheated. Now, 275 is little ways from my house, and he came all that way, past a gas station and a convenience store, turned off the main drag, and then onto my street to get water. Then he started talking about how the new electronic ignitions are designed to shut down when the car exceeds certain speeds. So he had installed a special racing ignition, but ever since his car has been overheating, we just had finished watching this movie about electronic ignitions and we were flabbergasted. What I want to know is who has the power and ability to set up these kind of confirmations or synchronicities. Answer: same forces spreading disinformation: Brotherhood, Consortium, Illuminati, New World, Antichrist, Lizzies. But I'm just a nobody. Why would they go to all that trouble to send somebody in a Camaro to drive up on my lawn? Several answers follow. Number one, nobody is a nobody. Number two, it is no trouble at all for the aforementioned forces to give seemingly individualized attention to anybody. Number three, Terry has been targeted, and so has Jan and others, because you are on the right track. Number four, the area is currently a hotbed of activity and is extremely rapidly expanding awareness. Talk about the Philadelphia experiment they talked about the Philadelphia experiment during the break. Laura, I suppose you have been listening to us talk. What do you have to comment about the Philadelphia experiment? We are always listening. Laura makes error in calling out letters. More coffee. Laura, Terry, V's place on the board. Terry takes Lee's place on the board. Are you, in a sense, part of a cosmic computer network and retrieval system? All are in one way or another. Did the Philadelphia experiment, as described by Terry's scoutmaster, occur in the way it was described? The description was not of the Philadelphia experiment. What was the ship that was part of the Philadelphia experiment? One of three. Were the effects that ship experienced a result of the Philadelphia experiment as we understand it? Reality, molecular residue. Did the Philadelphia experiment, as we have read about it, occur in the way it was described? Close. All right, you guys. So I know we all are familiar with the Philadelphia experiment. It was an experience for those who were involved in it, for sure. So there's really no need for me to go into a deep dive over what the Philadelphia experiment was. If you're not familiar with the Philadelphia experiment, if this is your first time hearing about it, welcome to the rabbit hole. Just Google it. Holy crap, your mind's going to be blown. So now they go on to say it was Al Bielek, I hope I'm saying his name correct, part of the experiment. Yes. Was the information he has given out about this factual? Close. Is the information he gives out about being aged, regress in the body and his brother coming into a new body accurate? No. Is his brother Duncan really who he claims to be? No. Is Al Bielek really who he claims to be? No, as was technician, but not aboard the vessel. So did he not go back and forth in time? Correct. So he's trying to make out himself out to be more than he actually is. Yes. Is he a wannabe? No, he's an agent of the government. Is Preston also a government agent? Yes. Why are they coming out with this story besides disinformation? Slow revelation of effects gauge of public response. Should V stand behind Terry and put her hands on his shoulder for energy? Not necessary, because Terry has adequate energy of his own. George Bush was involved in the Philadelphia experiment. He was Navy, World War II. I would like to know what happened to Ambrose Bicer. I know I'm not saying that right. Dead, spontaneous combustion. I've covered spontaneous combustions before a long time ago. So let me just kind of look at her with you guys. This lady, this experiment happened long before my time, probably long before a lot of you guys' time. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, this is a dude. Sorry, I thought for some reason I thought this was a girl. No, this is a dude. So Ambrose Bierce, born on the 24th of June, 1842, left the world circa 1914, was an American short story writer, journalist, poet, American Civil War veteran. But let me go to his later years. Let's see here. Okay, he disappeared. All right. In October of 1913, at the age of 71, departed from Washington, D.C. for a tour of his old Civil War battlefields. According to some reports, by December, he passed through Louisiana and Texas, crossing by way of El Paso in Mexico, which was, let's see, I leave here tomorrow for an unknown destination. He vanished without a trace. Interesting. So he's another unsolved mystery, and they say he just spontaneously combusted. I cannot think of a worse way to go, honestly, is to spontaneously combust. What happened to Marsha Moore, who was working on DRUG, enhanced outer space contact, via altered consciousness, permanent abduction victim, there we go, by the Lizzies. Oh, let's look her up. So she was working on something, probably with psychedelics, if I had to guess. Let's see. Oops, sorry about that, guys. That's my video processor. Okay. Marsha Moore, American writer and astrologer. Oh, she was a yoga teacher. So May 22nd, 1928 to January 14th, 1979 was an American writer, astrologer, and yoga teacher brought to national attention in 1965 through Jess Stern's book, Yoga, Youth, and Reincarnation. She was an advocate and researcher for the dissociative properties of the drug ketamine. Probably can't say that too many times on this episode. That will be the only time I say that. Moore disappeared in 1979, and although her remains were found in 1989, the cause and circumstances of her unaliving are still unknown. Okay. Interesting. So she was abducted by the Lizzies and became a permanent abductee. If you guys want me to go into her life more, just let me know. Let me know, my friends. Let me know. And that I don't consent to that. I'm just putting that out right now. I don't consent to being abducted by the Lizzies. Do not want. Beta, as they say in India. Beta, don't want. Why too close to the truth? Well, are we close to the truth too? Yes. Will we be permanently abducted by the Lizzies? Knowledge protects. But didn't she have a lot of knowledge too, scrambled with schmugs? I would like to know what is specific mode of time travel. Complex. Well, just give us a clue here. Transdimensional transfer utilizing electromagnetic adjustments of atomic structures to alter speed of time, cycle convergence. Who or what are the individuals called Men in Black? Lizzie projections. Does that mean they are just projecting an image of a being? Yes. The Men in Black are not real than our physical terms. Partially correct. You do not understand technology, but we will describe it if you like. We would like, please describe. Okay, get ready. First, we must further explain time travel because the two concepts are closely related. The first step is to artificially induce electromagnetic field. This opens the door between dimensions of reality. Next, thoughts must be channeled by participants in order to access reality bonding channel. They must then focus the energy to the proper dimensional bridge. The electrons must be arranged in correct frequency wave. Then the triage must be sent through a realm curtain in order to balance perceptors at all density levels. Laura, information in the event that has to be balanced or taking into consideration has to importance so that the program runs correctly. Is this the correct interpretation of the triage as you used it? Sort of. Triage is as follows: 1 matter, 2 energy, 3 perception of reality. That's it, folks. Who abducted Betty Andreessen? Grays. Was the information that Betty Andreessen was given by these beings who abducted her screen information or false information for disinformation? All of the above and some factual. In the Anne Haywood case, which is supposed to be the case of demonic possession or obsession, who or what are the beings that are afflicting this woman and her family? Third density section B energies, anomalies, same as poltergeist. That's interesting. I am familiar with this case. You guys probably are too. Poltergeist. Now, my understanding of poltergeist is that they are literal energy vessels, like sentient beings of energy that we actually create from our own reactions. In the case that is described in the book, The Haunted, about this Smurl family, with quite a bit of phenomenon occurring in their house, including the sighting of a Bigfoot-type creature, what was the source of the phenomenon in this case? Same poltergeist. So neither of these cases are alien related, correct? And that's why, again, we have to always take things with a grain of salt. Sometimes we're doing it. Sometimes we are doing it to ourselves. Telekinesis, like we are doing this to ourselves sometimes. So we always have to take even our own experiences with a grain of salt. Why are there such marked similarities between these two cases and the cases described by Carla Turner and other alien abductions? Similarities are open to interpretation. Turner household was open to multiple types of phenomenon due to interaction with Greys and others. Does that occur frequently in interactions with Greys? When there is excessive activity of this sort, it leaves open channelers or windows, which allows all sorts of things to come through. Well, who are these old hags who have schmecks with people? Poltergeistic entities. What is a poltergeist entity? Self-explanatory. Hopefully I explained it correct. Is the poltergeist entity generated by the subconscious energy of the individual to which the poltergeist effect occurs or takes place? Interaction, just like everything else, between perceiver and perceived. in what is, in this case, being perceived. Is it an energy construct or is it an actional being? Both. Remember, Laura, you are too an energy construct. Okay, so in S's regression to the time she experienced a meeting on a ship, there was a woman very similar to the woman described in these other cases. Who or what was the woman and why was she there? This woman is becoming quite popular, isn't she? Who, the woman in the hypnosis or S, the hag? Why is she becoming so popular? She must be good. We don't know. When my daughter A did spirit viewing of me, she saw a cord attached to me. At the end of this cord, there was a blue astronaut. What was the blue astronaut she saw? A guide. Well, we disconnected him. Should we have left him alone? Up to you. Who were the beautiful Nordic beings seen by George Adamski? Figment of George Adamski's highly evolved imagination. That happens so many times, it's just our imagination. Several times I heard referenced of big flying rectangular boxes. I would like to know who these belong to. Lizard projections. Why do they have so many types of crafts? Not all are theirs. Now we went to the recommended person to take Reiki initiation. Do we now, at this point in time, have the true Reiki initiation? Getting there must allow energy to solidify. Do you understand the concept of imprinting? Yes, then you know. Practicing Reiki is the thing that will solidify the forces, partially. Are there symbols for Reiki that are even older and stronger than the ones we've been given? Yes. Are the original symbols in Sanskrit? Yes. Where are we going to find them? You are not. And the Reiki symbols we learn from S are the closest we can get? Yes, good enough. When one receives the Reiki initiation, does it reverse the flow of intake and outtake, positive or negative polarity of the energy flow in the hands? Yes. Does the left hand then become the output hand? Yes. Is the right hand then the intaking hand? Yes. Is the Suching attunement S gives more powerful than anything we could have received from any other person? Yes, have faith. The spiritual exercises she teaches, are those beneficial for both of us to practice? They are okay. Is this so-so or really good? Remember, some things must be learned by your own path. What or who are the South American aliens I have read about who are described as beings gray with thick lips, rudimentary features, gray uniforms, and are called by the South Americans Malas? Lizard projections. So, yeah, I'm not familiar with that. So we've had any South Americans that are in here, if you've heard of this. This is a lizard projection. So just be careful. I'm telling not just to the South Americans, but like everyone. You know, these things that we think are angelic typically aren't. All right. Were these also the clay-like beings seen by Betty Andreson only when she was wearing only she saw them wearing a blue suit? Yes. Where was Betty Anderson taken to when she saw the phoenix in her abduction, another dimension of reality? Is Betty Andreson correct in believing that her experiences are positive and bring her closer to God? No. Is Betty Anderson deluded? No, she is a victim. What happened to the Australian pilot, Frank Valentich? He was taken by the Lizzies and dissected. It just gets uglier and uglier. Okay, I want to ask about the purple energy plate. Is that something that would be worth spending money on? No, it's bogus. Pretty color, though. How long should I wait to get the master initiation? Up to you. S likes for her students to wait 6 months. Is it necessary or beneficial for me to wait that long since I have been doing Reiki for so long? Up to you. We would like to know why we all have been under such attack lately, because you are now connected to a valid source. Is Bob Oshler a government plant? Semi. Was the CARP Ontario's UFO landing a real UFO landing? Yes. Who was involved in that? Grace. Anyone else? No, but government wants to use it as an opportunity knocks. UFO per se was not suggestion. Guardian story was. Was the UFO actually flown by aliens? Yes. Government has miles of UFO footage in its possession. May use it as may use at its discretion. What does it mean that the Guardian story was staged? How is the videotape real? Use tape to concoct story around. Did the involved calling himself Guardian actually film that? No. Who filmed it? Military. How did they know to be there in the middle of the Ontario let's try that again. How do they know to be there in the middle of Ontario, Canada to film that landing? Landing took place near where a regiment of NATO reservists were training. Did it take place where they said it did? Near. Was the woman in the farmhouse part of the plot? Saw UFO was part of the flap. Now, for those who remember this, because I, again, was 11 years old in 1994, so I don't remember this at all. I was too busy watching Full House, and I loved Matlock as a kid. They're actually redoing Matlock now, you guys, with Kathy Bates. I wasn't really looking at UFOs back then. I was dealing with ghost stuff, but I was not. So if you're from Canada or you remember this, let me know, because there's a lot of information here. And if you are familiar with this story and you're being shocked by what the sea say about it, let me know that too. Okay, so we have a woman who saw a UFO landing, had one that they had on tape, and when she came forward to talk about her sightings, they decided to use the footage to corroborate her story. Is that correct? Yes. Did this woman know about the NATO maneuvers? No. Were the NATO maneuvers near where she was? Yes. All major military exercises are plagued by UFOs. Is the government planning to stage an invasion by aliens to cause the populace of the world to go into such a fear state that they will accept total control and domination? Open, but if so, it will flop. Why? Many reasons. 1, visual effects will be inadequate and will have glitches. 2, real invasion may take place first. 3, other events may intercede, such as what? Earth changes. Am I correct in assuming that some of these hotshot bigwig guys in the government who have plans for taking over the world and making everything all happy and hunky-dory with them in charge are just simply not in sync with the fact that there are some definite earth changes on the agenda? Are they missing something here? Close, they are aware, but in denial. Are these earth changes going to occur prior to the arrival of the cometary cluster? No, but in time frame is as yet undetermined. Am I correct in saying that if they knew what was really going on was going to happen, that they would still continue with their stupid little plans to make money and try to control the world? Yes, greed is a sickness. Is there such a thing as an alternative 3, the plan to take off all the brains off the planet? No. Is that more disinformation? Yes. So is Mars landing but not Mars monuments? Who made the monuments on Mars? Atlanteans. So the Atlanteans had interplanetary ability? Yes, with ease. Atlantean technology made yours look like the Neanderthal era. Who created the structures on the moon that Richard Hoagland has discovered? Atlanteans. What did they use these structures for? Energy transfer points for crystalline power, symbolisms as in moments of, as in monuments or statuary. What statuary are you referring to? Example is face. What power did these crystals gather? Sun. Was it necessary for them to have power gathering stations on Mars and the moon? Did this increase their powers? Not necessary, but it is not necessary for you to have $1 million either. Get the correlation? Atlanteans were power hungry the way your society is money hungry. Was the accumulation of this power what brought about the downfall? Yes. Did they lose control of this power? It overpowered them the same way your computers will overpower you. Is it similar to them gaining a life and intelligence of their own? Yes. You mean these crystal structures came to life, so to speak? Yes. And then what did they do? Destroyed Atlantis. But I thought that the Atlantis was destroyed because of a closing passage of another body of a solar system, was damaged but recovered. So Atlantis was damaged by a close passage of Mars or whatever, and then it recovered from that damage. Is that correct? Part of landmass, but not all was destroyed. So how many separate destructions did Atlantis experience? 3. One was caused by the close proximity passage of Mars. Yes, and comets. Was Mars and the comets loosely interactive? Yes. And the second was caused by what? Venus. And the third and final destruction was caused by what? Crystals. Are the crystals still active? Bermuda Triangle. I thought that was a myth. No. And what does the crystals do? Is it continuously active? No, erratic. Is it still active in the sense that it's being a conscious or sentient entity? No. What activates it? Many factors. And when it is activated, what does it do? transdimensional window is blasted open. Say a person was sailing along the Bermuda Triangle and the window was blasted open and these people passed through or were engulfed in or hit or whatever. In what condition would they find themselves? Something akin to a suspended animation, which is that missing Malaysia flight we talked about a while ago is also in suspended animation. Why would they be conscious of their state of would they be conscious of their state of suspended animation, or would their consciousness also be suspended? Either or. Do they stay in the state forever, or do they come back out, or do they come out somewhere else? Open. All are possible. Same thing happened to the Philadelphia experiment participants. If an individual were in the interdimensional state of suspended animation, does that mean they are stuck there forever? Maybe. Can they not die? Is that what you're saying? To them, they are perceiving something like waiting for 1,000,000 years. Is there no one or no way to rescue them from this state? Why do you think those sailors were hopelessly insane? Besides the crystal and the Bermuda Triangle, are there any others still active? Yes. Does the government know about them? Simi. Where are the others located? Off Japan, in Brazil, Ural Mountains of Russia, North and South Poles. Are the ones on the moon and Mars active also? Yes. Are they responsible for any of the earthquakes like the one in Japan? Yes. If one crystal is found and the technology is deciphered and another is found, does it increase the power? Let us answer this way. If Neanderthals found a 747, would they know how to use it? We're too dumb, basically. They called us dumb. What were the physical dimensions of these crystals, and were they cut out or naturally grown? Varied were synthetic. Were they faceted? Yes. In their faceting, what was the general configuration? A pyramid. What was the absolute pyramid with the same properties as we say the Great Pyramid in Giza? Close. What was it, the absolute pyramid with the same? Yeah, okay. How large was the largest base from the to apex? 5,000 feet. What was the average size? 500 feet. And was the one that was 5,000 feet tall, is that one still in existence? Yes. Where is that one located? 380 miles due east of you. They're in Florida. So due east would be, I have to look. They say Florida has like the most pyramids actually, which is crazy because Florida is so flat. So if they're in like the Tampa area, I need to go look at the mileage because I'm not sure how far across Florida goes. So this pyramid is either under the ocean on the Atlantic side or somewhere on inland Florida. Let me know if you guys know about this if you're in Florida. Some years ago, a pilot reported seeing a pyramid near there in the water. That is just the top sticking out of the ocean floor. It's 99. Okay, so it is in the water. So it's probably right off the coast of Florida. So a pilot saw the top. The rest is buried. In meditation, I saw crystals coming up during Earth changes. Is this what's going to happen? Yes. How come this crystal didn't shatter or break up during the substance of Atlantis? Extraordinarily strong, and atomic BOMB would not shatter it. The chain reaction of the thorough nuclear explosion was to be absorbed in the crystals and transferred into pure energy that relates to the design function. You know what I need to look up, guys? I need to look up Siesta Keys here. Because Siesta Keys, which is a beach in Sarasota, a key is an island, so these little islands off the coast of Florida are called keys. The sand there is pure white, and it's cool, and it's apparently like crystal. It's the only key that has sand that's crystal that they say came from Appalachia. I call bullshit. I think it's more of what they're talking about here, and I think it came from Atlantis. After we're done with this, I'm going to look into that though, because if you've been to Siesta Keys, talk about it down in the comment section because it's wild. When we're in Florida, we go and walk there all the time to try to absorb the energy through our feet of this crystallite sand. So anyway, how come this crystal didn't shatter or break up during the subsidence of Atlantis? Extraordinarily strong. Okay, I already read that. And then what would happen? Energy dispersal, useless force as engineered by the Atlanteans. Where did they get the technology? They evolved it. They invented it themselves. Yes. Did they interact with any aliens? Yes. Did they get any help at all from these extraterrestrials? Yes. And who are these aliens? Lizzies. What kind of power frequency did these crystals use? Full range. How many of the crystals have been discovered by the government of the world? All. Are they trying to use them? Pointless. Are they trying? Maybe. Is that why they backed off from the moon and stopped the space program? No, government doesn't understand technology. Have they backed off from their activities on the moon? Open. Are the crystals on Mars why they want to get there so badly? Yes. Because of the crystals or because of what is stored in the mountains? Neither. Why do they want to get to Mars? Explore. Are the top echelons of the human race all the fools as they seem? Subjective. Can we utilize that crystalline shape to generate electricity? Possible and has been done. Is it complicated? Yes. What effects does wearing hemanite have on the physical body? Open. What about this fellow Stevenson? If all parties have faith in it, did Laura receive healing on her heart today? Yes. Where did Stevenson get his information? Read it. Jan has asked about doing a spirit release. Okay. She wants to know how many attachments she has. 3, 2 positive, 1 negative. Terry, 3, 1. How did they get them? Find out. Earlier, the suggestion was made to hypnotize Terry. Is that what we were saying we should do? Yes. Can I trust Jerry? Maybe. Does Comrade Kirk die at the end of the movie? Does X-Files have Lizzie influence? No. Does the X-Files tell the people what they need to hear? Yes. End of session. So that was fascinating, you guys. What do you guys think about the Atlantis stuff? We were going to Mars, the moon. I know right now we're mirroring the fall of Atlantis. Like, this is our karma to be back because we got too greedy, right? And now we're getting greedy again, but in other ways. But I love how the sea's called is stupid. Anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts down in the description or the comment section below. Let me know if you've been to Siesta Keys. Let me know if you know about these pyramids in Florida. All right, I'll see what I can find out too. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day, and we will talk very soon.